Hi, this is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans, where we're asking the question, what's brewing in Montpelier? And joining me in studio is Eric Bigglestone, who is the owner of Capital Stationery. Welcome.
Yes, thank you very much.
What a
One of
great
the co-owners.
Oh, co-owners.
Myself and my brother now.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I don't want to leave him out. So.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. That is a great store. You have got so many cool things in there.
Lots of stuff, for sure.
Good place to shop for the holidays.
For sure, yeah. We're ramping up right now.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah, frantically, but we'll get there.
Well, before we started the video, we were talking about your history, of the Bigglestone history.
We have a lot of history.
Please tell us, what an amazing story.
It's weird to talk about yourself, but I guess that's why I'm here, right?
Eric, that's the deal.
So my grandfather started Capital Stationers in 1950 here in Montpelier.
Yeah.
Prior to that, he was a traveling salesman out of Boston who covered New England for the National Blank Book Company. So he had always wanted to go out on his own and start his own business, and Montpelier was one of the accounts he called on, and I think he just saw a lot of potential, and he bought out a couple businesses and formed Capital Stationers, put that into all one basket, and prior to my grandfather, just going back a little further, my great-grandfather, I found these. When we got flooded in 23, we were able to salvage a few things, and I found these envelopes in a box that are from the early 1900s.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, 1917, 1918, 1920. And it was my great-grandfather that worked for a company, Adams, Cushing, and Foster, which was a stationery store in Boston.
Oh,
so
wow.
We kind of go back a little further,
it's in the
into
blood.
the 1900s, yeah. And I brought the envelopes because I thought it was kind of funny. I have about 20 of them here.
Nice.
And the problem back then was this problem we have now is nobody can spell Bigglestone.
Oh.
It never seems to be spelt right. I have Bigglesty, I have Biggerton, Beggerston.
That's funny.
Billestone. But they still all made it.
Yeah, they did. The post office knew
the post office still made it. So that was kind of a neat little thing I came across. I thought I'd share.
Great. You should save those somehow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have them. We have them. So 1950, my grandfather started it, and then throughout the next 40 years, we expanded to different towns and cities in the state. And at one point, we had 7 stores.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we've grown and we've contracted again.
Right. So
I've
now
been through pretty much it all.
You have just the one store now?
Just the one store in Montpelier, yeah.
But I'm sitting here thinking, when you walk in, you have got just tons of stuff besides stationery.
We do. Well,
which is
it can be confusing for people, I think, who have never been in our store. They see Capital Stationers, stationery store. They walk in and it's full of T-shirts and stickers and chocolate. And
cups, a lot of cups.
Yeah. So I mean, that has been a conscious decision. A lot of that stationery items that we used to sell truckloads of either are not made anymore or people just don't use. So that portion of our business has shrunk over the years. And with technology, we weren't into computers. We didn't want to do any of that stuff. So we never really jumped on the technology aspect. So as that part has shrunk, we've expanded. Tourism is real big in Vermont. Vermont makes a lot of different things in our state, so we really try to embrace that, and people love it. So.
Well, I told you before the show, I buy all of my Christmas cards at your store, and I've done it since I moved here in 1990. That's where I buy my Christmas cards. Yeah. But I also buy stationery because when you have something, I think, when you want to thank somebody or express your sorrow about something, there is nothing like receiving a handwritten note on good stationery.
Yeah, I think that's making a comeback. I mean, we don't carry the fine stationery that we had once carried, but that aspect trailed off a lot, but it's really starting to come back. I think COVID was one of those things that we found that people were wanting to write letters to people more. So we were definitely. It seemed like things spiked around then, and people still love to send a card and a thank you. Like I insist that my children still send thank you cards.
Thank you for that.
Rather than texting. Some people they may text, but when it comes to family and good friends, just write a thank you note.
That's it. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Because I get, my face lights up when you get the grandchildren's thank you, Grandma.
It's nice. Yeah.
Anyway, well, you certainly explained why you moved to Montpelier and been here for a long time.
Yep, Montpelier's great too. I mean, my grandfather obviously knew something. It's been nothing but wonderful to have a business in town, and the community treats us, the fellow business owners, we're a very tight-knit circle. We all get along with one another. We try not to step on each other's toes as far as merchandise goes.
Yep.
A lot of behind-the-scenes conversations of, oh, do you guys carry this? Oh, well, we're not going to bother with that. You know, that type of thing. So we really try to exist together. You know.
And I heard that during the flood there were a lot of, do you have this, do you have that? And people just rallied around. And you can sense it here when you go into stores. There's just a feeling of I don't know, family.
Yeah, I've always known it's existed too, but when this flood happened specifically, it put the proof in the pudding, I guess they say. You know, it just people came out in droves.
And it's a hard thing to find, that camaraderie. I'm thinking about some other towns and cities, and I don't know. This is special here, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I hear it a lot from people coming through the doors, you know, tourists and people traveling through, like, my God, this downtown's amazing. We don't have a downtown anymore.
Well,
you know?
Now, I live in Berlin, and we don't have a downtown. We're working on it.
They're working on building one.
Yeah, they are. Because if you don't have a child in school, you're really out there, which thank goodness I don't at this age, but you don't really have that. So I get involved in town, because that's the only way you can meet other people, really.
Yep.
So I envy Montpelier. And I envy that you have Montpelier Alive. That seems to...
They've been
Katie,
fantastic.
Unbelievable.
She's done a great job. I don't think Montpelier would be where it is today if we didn't have that organization.
Wow, what a great statement.
I know we wouldn't be where we were today, because it provides a lot of direction. And it's not just about the business owners and the shop owners. It's a lot bigger than that.
People come out of the woodwork to go to the events here.
Yeah. So, but they really do support us, and it's a needed support.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're off doing our own thing, and it provides some structure and organization.
Well, I
for
know
us.
they were able to get commitments from people for serious funding once the flood hit.
Yeah.
And that was really waiting for FEMA and SBA and the state. The Montpelier Live was there.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, which is great.
We're celebrating our 75th anniversary this year.
Are you really?
So, yeah,
Eric,
1950, 2025.
Yes.
That's 75 years.
So what are you planning for the holidays? Or do you have to do
May
something?
1st is the day we started business.
Oh,
so
really?
we generally celebrate our anniversary on May 1st. So I don't know yet what we're going to do, but we'll do something.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not going to be a big blowout party, but just some recognition.
I think tooting your own horn is a good thing, Eric.
Yeah, maybe we'll display some of these cool envelopes for people to look at.
History.
You know, it's
That's great. And explain to them how you spell Bigglestone.
Right. Yeah. Bigglestone.
Be good. I actually did it right. So I was looking when you said that. I did it right. So you told me you were caught up in how many floods?
So this last one in 23 was my 5th here in Montpelier.
Wow.
First one was in 92 when the big ice jam happened.
Oh, right.
And then it's been a series of, based on where our location has been, because it has changed over the years.
Right.
Depending upon what spot we're in, you know. This town kind of floods in a weird way. You know, you may not know like there's a flood happening, but it's happening in a basement of a building.
Right.
Especially with a lot of the buildings along the river over by the Positive Pie parking lot. That's where we were for many years.
In the 92, did you say?
Yeah.
I was commissioner of personnel in my building. The basement was all of our records for people's, employment history gone. Well, we saved them, but it's a long story. But anyway, and when you looked at the aerial view, when Montpelier Live published the aerial view of this flood, I was blown away where it was.
Yeah, we have there's a photo that I pulled off the internet that I had printed up, and we have it on our wall as you come in the store.
Yeah, I mean,
and people
everywhere.
just walk in and just look at it, and they're like, it really gives a sense of, when we say the entire town, the entire city flooded.
And people, I mean, homes, and it was terrible.
It was everywhere,
I was really shocked.
Yeah.
So you got pretty much wiped out this time, right?
We all did.
Yeah.
I think there's maybe only a handful of businesses that, were able to.
And how were you able to get your place back in shape? I know I spoke to one owner who couldn't get the guy to replace the flooring because there's only a handful of people,
I know.
and they had to wait forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to tear stuff apart. It's putting stuff back together
Right.
properly that you
Properly.
need to do. Tim Heaney, he's the only reason we reopened so quick,
Right.
along with everybody on our block. He went right to town as soon as
Right.
the water was gone. He was able to line up the contractors, and they got all that work done.
Good for Tim.
Yeah, so he's definitely one of the reasons why we were able to open so quickly.
I've heard his
And the
name
community as
before.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a lot of volunteers. We got funding, we got grants. As a business, you try to figure stuff out yourself, but when you get in this type of situation, free money, I mean, I'm going to take it because
Yeah.
I got a lot of things that
For sure.
a lot of bills to pay, and
Yeah. A lot of people took out loans for COVID, and they were reluctant to take out loans during the flood because, you have to pay loans back.
yeah. Oh, I know.
So free's a
I
little
know.
better.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I wasn't. Yeah.
No, and they've really got, how much can you pay back?
Yeah, right.
You just
Yep.
don't bring in that kind of money.
Yeah, then our family owns a building in town as well.
Oh,
so,
do you?
We obviously got hit there, so we needed to do some creative funding to get that back up.
Have
and
you
running
done anything
again.
to your building itself to maybe,
I don't know what to do. I mean,
yeah.
I've sat in many meetings and talked to many people that the term flood-proofing your building comes up. That
does
sounds
that
great,
mean?
but what does that mean?
Right.
I don't know what that means.
yeah.
So.
So do you have a lot of staff that work for you? I know there's always a couple of folks. No.
No, we don't. It's just my brother and I, and then we have one other employee, Beth, who's been with
Oh.
us for over 20 years, and she's phenomenal. I mean, we've had multiple employees
Yeah.
over the years, of course. We've always been blessed with great staff.
That's
We back when we had a lot more staff, there were people that had been with us for a long time
Yeah.
too. So I think it's a testament to my dad. I like to think I'm a good person too, but my dad was always a great
Nice.
guy, and everybody had a lot of admiration for him. And he treated people well. So.
And it's a fun store to be in too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got all kinds of cool stuff. Every
does.
place you look, there's
a
something
lot of stuff.
something different.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
So, because I know some of the people have trouble hiring because
Yep.
it's what's happening all over.
Yep.
There's not enough workers these days.
Yeah.
So I'm glad.
I mean, I'd like to hire. At some point, we'll probably hire more staff so that we don't have to be there as much.
Right.
My brother and I are there quite a bit.
Yeah.
And Beth's she's there quite a bit as well. So.
What's
But
the
we seem to
most
make it
thing
work.
that you sell the most of there? Just what's hard to tell? Or
Gosh, I would probably just have to go with a category of like clothing.
Oh,
It sounds
yeah.
weird that a stationery store, one of their best sellers is clothing, but we keep adding more and more, and it keeps selling. So we'll roll with what works.
That's great. Was it mostly like Montpelier related sort of stuff? or-
Vermont, just
Vermont,
yeah, we have a category.
Yeah.
It's
People
a
like
pretty
that.
broad category,
Yep.
but yeah, it's definitely not. Like if you were to look at our sales 10 years ago,
Stationery.
maybe 5% of our sales was clothing, not
That's
like it
great.
is now. So.
Well, you have excellent Christmas cards. I don't know who selects them or where they come from, but they're wonderful.
From a lot of different
So,
places.
do you see the what is it, footpaths, people walking back and forth? Has that come back at
traffic.
all, or a foot traffic?
No, I mean it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
With COVID and of course flooding with
Yeah.
state buildings. We don't get the everyday worker coming in all the time. Like there's people that you would see at least once or twice a week coming in on their lunch break or
Yep.
running an errand.
Yeah.
So we've had to kind of make some changes as to what we sell based on that. you
Yeah,
know?
because a lot of the state people are still working at home.
They are,
And
yeah.
I'm surprised at that, but I've been a commissioner once or twice, and I would want my people there.
Yeah.
The people that I work with in the office, so.
Yeah.
But I know my daughter works at home, and she absolutely loves it. She doesn't want to go back to work.
Yeah, I mean, it personal preference, I guess.
Yeah, and it must save money at some point in time, because you don't need, if you plan ahead, you don't need that kind of space.
Yeah,
But
and that's
I
the
think
next-
it's random, so you can't
And then that's
really.
the next question: what does
Yeah.
the state do with all these buildings that
Right.
nothing's going on, that
Right.
we've relied on people to come work in?
Yeah.
Something's got to be done. I don't have the answer, but
Well, I'm surprised that, because that really kept the city alive and active.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
for sure.
But so you got some help from the state, from SBA, and from Montpelier Alive, and I know people have been helping individual businesses too, because I'm sure the folks that shop at your store have helped you.
They had, yeah, oh yeah. We had one of my brother's college friends. I'm not a big fan of GoFundMe, at least for a business. I feel
Yeah.
that you put yourself in a situation, you deal with it. But he started a GoFundMe, which helped tremendously. for our flood recovery. So we had income coming in there that's helped, and I think we're at a good level right now.
That's good.
Not just us. Like talk to other business owners. There's
They're
some
good.
that are certainly struggling. Don't get me wrong, but there are others that we're doing fine.
That's good.
So.
And Christmas is an important time
Christmas
of the
is
year.
huge, yeah.
It gets you through the next couple of months, which slow down.
For sure,
right?
yeah.
So
yeah.
be sure to shop local and come on downtown. Eric, anything else you want to tell folks?
No, just continue to support our downtown. I hear it from people that live all over the world that used to maybe have a downtown, or their downtown isn't as nice as it used to be. I think that we really have something special.
We do.
And it's not just me saying that.
Nope.
So
I agree with you. And those of us who just visit, just love to visit and walk around, and
Yep.
especially with the lighted
The lighted bridges are
That
great.
is
I hope that
amazing.
stays. Like
Oh.
I know it's not free.
No?
So you got to get funding for it, but
Yeah.
I would love to see something like it expanded even
Yeah,
more.
that was a great idea. Whoever, I know they were working on it for a couple of years.
Yep.
Well, Eric, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We
We
appreciate
appreciate it.
you coming on.
All right.
And this is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans, where we're asking what's brewing in Montpelier. Hi there, this is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans, where our tagline is What's Brewing in Montpelier? And joining me today is Sonia Gran, who is the co-owner, I knew that, co-owner of Botanical Gardens.
Botanical Florals.
Not gardens?
No, Botanical
Sonia,
Florals.
I've known you for how long? Florals.
Yes,
All right,
a few years.
you can do this. See, I learned things. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. You learned something new today.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us, Pat.
Oh,
we
this
really
is great.
appreciate this. This is
You have
really
such a
great thing.
beautiful store, and you've been through it.
We have.
Yep, you
But
have.
we're back, and the beauty is there.
Yes. I remember, I'm skipping ahead a little bit,
Yeah.
but when you and I talked after the flood, you were having a terrible time getting, and I've repeated this story, not that it was from you, but getting people to replace your floor because was so many people that replace
Yeah.
floors, and it was very hard to get things back.
Yeah, it took a long time for them to get the people in to do the floors.
Right.
And you got to have those floors before you move anything back
Sure.
in there.
Well, I am petrified of mold, and if your floor is wet, you've just got to have a new floor. You
yeah.
can't
No.
mess with that. That stuff's not to be messed with.
Oh, right, exactly. No, and they did a good job drying everything out.
Did
but-
they?
Yeah, but it took a long time, and that's why.
Yeah. Anyway.
That
All
was
right,
a
so
lot of
let's
fun.
start over
Yes,
again.
yes.
Sorry, okay, I'm gabbing away. But tell us, our listeners, viewers, a little bit about yourself and Botanical
Botanical Florals.
Floral.
Yep.
Jeez.
So Sarah, my sister, and I co-own it, and we opened in July of 2011. It's hard to believe it's been 13 years. Full service retail florist. We do, everyday arrangements. You can pick up. We do delivery, and events, weddings,
Great.
all kinds. So it's corporate events, weddings,
Nice.
funerals, birthdays, whatever it is.
Whatever you
So
need.
Whatever you need, we're happy to have you come to see
That's
us.
beautiful.
And,
Now, is this something you've always done and moved here to do this? Or where did you get the experience?
lifelong Vermonter. I went to a floral design school.
Oh.
It was run by Ned Davis out of Waterbury Center, out of his home. He's a very well-renowned florist in the area, and he and his family owned a floral shop for years.
Huh.
And that's when I started that, probably back in like the mid to late 80s, that I was really fascinated. My mother-in-law was a master gardener and used to go to the Boston Flower Market a lot.
Wow.
So I really became interested in it, and then got to a point where it was like, I think it's time to open a
I
business.
can
And my
do
sister
this.
came from a retail background.
Oh,
so that was great.
Right.
She had a lot of that experience.
So is this your first store? or
This
your
is our first store.
Great.
Yeah, we
Oh, you do
started
a
forming it
great
in
job.
2010. 2010, and
Nice.
opened it in 2011.
How exciting for you.
Oh, it's
the
really been
smell
great.
and that.
Oh, I know.
I
it
just-
is. We get nose blind though.
Oh, you don't
Yeah,
see,
we
you
have
don't smell it after a
No, we
while?
have to go
Yeah.
outside and get some fresh air, and then come back in and go, oh, it really smells lovely in
Oh,
here.
well,
So,
it is. It's
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
And could I stop, not on the questions, but you now have a new puppy dog. Could you talk about the former puppy dog who was so, I swear everybody followed him around, and
Yeah.
I went in once or twice just to say hello.
And that's what we
Yeah,
got. Yeah,
tell that story, tell me
Ferdinand.
of Ferdinand.
So I met Ferdinand in it would have been November of 2001. He was born in February of 2001. And I had just been over to Guer & Sons to drop some flowers off, and I drove by. My mom was with me, and there was this most gorgeous winter, this most gorgeous golden retriever with this striking red collar waiting outside of Mangie's. And so I said, I have to stop and see this dog. And my parents had a golden retriever at the time, and so I met the owners, and it was just a crazy story. Her office was across the street from us at 15 State Street. She was upstairs on the second floor, and she could look down into our store and see people, you know, coming and going. And she said, oh, we watch you, and Ferdy hangs out. His name was Ferdinand, but they called him Ferdy. And so she started bringing him around midday. She'd let us watch him for 10 or 15 minutes while she went to get her lunch. And then the spring of 2022, or 2002, excuse me, he just started coming to work with us every day.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the newspapers. There were stories written about him.
WCX
He would
did a
greet
great
everybody.
article.
And
unfortunately, we lost him in December of 2020.
and he'd go to your house sometimes when she was traveling.
Yeah, when they were traveling or vacationing, he'd come and stay with us. And
that is such a great story.
so great. He never knocked a flower over, never knocked a plant. He was just so gentle. He was
Then I went in, you have a new puppy.
I do. My husband and I have Finn, who's a chocolate lab.
Right.
And he's 2 years old. So he's learning the ropes, but he's no Ferdinand. He's a lab. He's just crazy wild. So
He's probably a love.
he is. He's a great little boy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get us off
That's
track,
all right.
but
No,
that is the
no.
best story. That would make the best children's, if you have absolutely nothing to do sometime,
I know.
write a book about that.
him. Yeah,
Would be
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Because I love it that she drops him off and
I
he goes to work and
He goes
comes,
to work. Yeah.
comes
Goes,
home.
she picks him up at the end of the day.
That's great. So you picked Montpelier because
It's just such a sweet, friendly, walkable, just a great community.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, it is for sure.
It is.
And it's getting back.
Yes.
And we're hoping that these videos will remind people of how much is in Montpelier.
Yeah.
Flower shops, bookstores, restaurants.
Clothing stores.
And a lot of individual people do health. I've interviewed a lot of people that do health care.
Health and wellness,
Yes,
yes.
health, yep.
Yes.
Yeah, health and wellness, that's a better
Yeah.
way to put it.
Yeah, no, it's
But we have a
coming
lot
back.
of people here to help.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
great. And it's I went to a meeting at Montpelier Live, and they were celebrating their 25th anniversary this year,
Right.
which is great. Happy anniversary! But I noticed how tight everybody was.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a tight community.
Montpelier Live really has
Yeah.
really brought us all together. They've
So
been
tell me
good.
your experience during COVID and the flood.
Well-
You must have gotten hit by all the floods. Did you?
We got hit in 2011, Irene, but it was just in the basement.
Right.
So that wasn't too bad. But obviously the 2023, yes. And COVID, the one advantage I think we had during COVID was we've always delivered flowers. So we could kind of just swing and, we made it work.
That's
we really
great.
made it
Good.
work. The 2023, that was a game changer.
Yeah.
That was hard. We moved out and in record time. I mean, we went in there Wednesday morning after the flood. We were out by noon on Saturday. We moved out like we were never going back.
Wow.
Lots of help, and then we just took the week to kind of think about how we were going to do this.
Yep.
And then we just started, as funny as it is, we're florists, but we worked remotely.
Yeah, there you go. So where was all your stuff? Did you have a
Well,
place to
thank
work
heavens
from?
Green Mountain Floral Supply is close by in Middlesex, and they offered up space immediately
Oh,
to us.
isn't that
And those
wonderful
guys
of
are
them?
just amazing. They were so accommodating to us. We worked, they were so helpful. So we would, Sarah would do phone at her home, I would do the internet at my home, and we'd get together and go to Green Mountain and design and then deliver. And, we had a great our web designer was great. She stepped in to kind of tweak our website.
Let
so
people
that,
know.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And we made it work. We were out of the store, 4 months?
Wow.
And
Was
then-
it that long?
Yeah, we went out, July 10th, and we never moved really back in. We started moving back in the end of October, but we really never got settled until right around Thanksgiving
when you and I were
time.
talking, I don't remember, you were waiting for a freezer
Yep.
to come in, then you could really do your thing.
Yeah,
because,
we lost 2 coolers.
Yep.
We had 3 in the store. One was able to be totally refurbished and rebuilt.
Right.
The other 2, there was a little bit of delay in getting
well.
them, but we got them in time for the holidays, so we
great.
were so thankful.
Have you noticed traffic picking up in Montpelier, or because we're trying to get folks to come back home?
Foot traffic is still pretty low.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it really is. It's not like what it used to be.
Well, what's also sad is a lot of the state employees are working from home too. Somebody mentioned that the other day from a restaurant that they're seeing a
Yeah.
big downsizing in the number of people coming for lunch.
And I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, they'd go get lunch, and then they'd stop in and maybe get flowers. But we're not seeing the foot traffic that we would like to see.
I
But
hope so.
that's okay. You know.
Well, I think Montpelier Alive is working so hard to come up with this thing that's happening
weekend.
this
16th.
Saturday,
Yep.
16th, is where they're going to have the bridges all lit up, 7 of them, I think.
Yeah.
And Katie says it's going to be something that people will be attracted to come and see the lights.
I think so too.
It'll be
It's just
great.
going to be a nice attraction to
Yeah.
come and shop and see the lights, shop, dine in downtown Montpelier.
So how was your relationship with, or your experience with FEMA and not FEMA, SBA?
Yeah.
Was that okay, or just?
We didn't do anything with SBA.
Oh,
we
really?
didn't take any of the SBA loans. No, you know, we always saved for a rainy day. We
Good
didn't
for you.
expect it was going to be a monsoon, but we managed.
that's good.
So we really didn't have any, experience.
Yeah, because some people took a loan out during COVID,
which,
and then they didn't want to take out 2, because I mean, how much debt can you be in?
Yeah.
So
We didn't take anything either COVID or with the flood. And Montpelier Alive, really were the ones that really gave us hope.
Well,
with,
for sure
with not only assistance but money in hand.
Right.
And
Yeah, they
then the
collected
state
so
did
much
what they could as far as with the B gap, but these natural disasters are
it's
expensive,
terrible.
and if you start doing it for one, you got to do it for all of them. So
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
expensive.
the process is very convoluted too.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of people complaining about the paperwork, and here you're flooded, especially in your home. You're flooded out of your home.
know.
The paperwork's in the home.
In the home.
And how do you retrieve it? How do you get it?
Yeah.
I was pushing. Remember years ago, we all had go bags. Do you remember ever doing that?
No.
This must have been from a World War II. We had go bags by our bed. It was papers that you needed, copies,
wow.
clothes,
Yeah.
stuff, and if you had a fire or something, you picked up your bag and off you went.
wow.
And then over the years, I stopped
Doing
it.
Yeah.
So it's probably knock on wood.
Yeah. Well, everything is so computerized today.
right.
But even during the flood, our computer didn't get damaged, but the moisture inside the elements caused problems with.
Wow. And how was your supply chain? Was that bad too?
And it still is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's tough. It's we've had a lot of interruptions. Not as much with the fresh product, but with the hard goods like the glassware.
Oh.
That's been
Interesting.
really tough.
And where do those things come from?
Most of it comes right from the United States.
Huh.
Our wholesaler really does a
Well,
lot
we've had
with
a
the
strike or
US.
two here and
Yeah,
there. That
exactly.
doesn't help much.
Yeah, exactly. So
Interesting.
but it's getting better.
Oh, that's good. So you were an employer. Have you? How many people do you have working with your sister and you? And
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
I thought you had 1 or 2 in the background.
No, we do on occasions for
Yeah.
events, and we're fortunate that we have family who steps in and helps
good,
us.
good.
But no, pretty much on a day-to-day basis, it is just the 2 of us.
Wow, lots of work.
Everything. Everything. Yep, from processing those flowers to designing them to getting them out into the recipient's hands. So
Wow.
it's a lot of work.
Good
but
job.
it's fun.
Good job. So you're sort of back and eventually expanding, maybe, or
I think Pat,
it's just the right size.
I think we're pretty content. One thing that we did do once we moved back into the store last year is we really put our focus on designing an online store. So you can shop online with us now.
Oh.
So we launched that in April of this year and worked with our web designer, and that's been really...
That's great.
So I think that's kind of our growth.
You want to tell that online website?
So our
you
website...
have that memorized,
I
I'm sure.
do. It's, our website is botanicafloralsvt.com.
I don't know why I had your name wrong for so long.
That's all right.
Shame on
That's
me.
okay.
But we're friends.
That's right. And yeah, so it's on our
grief.
Instagram and our
That's great.
Facebook and
Good.
website. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love ordering. I'm so bad.
Yeah.
I sit home.
Well, that's all
Single.
right. And that's what we
Now I
wanted
can.
to. Yeah, and we wanted to be able to, knowing that maybe some of the state workers were never going to come back.
Right.
But if they are interested in something, they can shop online
Right.
with us. So it took us a long time. It was a, kind of an arduous task to do that. But we had a great web designer,
That's
and
great.
she worked with us hand in hand. She
Very
held our
nice.
hands the
That's
whole
a
way.
skill these days.
Yes,
that,
it sure is.
Hard to come by. Anyway. Well, that's great. So come down and
Shop
go
downtown.
online.
Yeah, you can go online. You can shop
Yeah.
downtown. But
Right
yes.
on State Street.
Right on 10 State Street, yep, in between Enna, the International Deli, and Cosmic Cotton, right across from the
Two new names.
two new name. Well, Enna's been there. She opened during COVID.
Oh,
She opened
really?
in
Good for
2021.
her. That's
yeah.
gutsy.
And then Cosmic Cotton is a T-shirt and different,
Great.
apparel.
There's so
It's
many
great.
funky stores in
Yeah.
this town, and I've been interviewing people that don't have a storefront, that they're upstairs,
Yeah.
and it's fascinating.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of
yeah,
those types.
it's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Anyway.
great businesses downtown.
Well, Sonia
so-
Grahn, thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you,
on.
Pat. This is so nice, and we
Yes.
can't thank you enough for
Well,
really pushing to
we
shop
hope this
local this
works.
holiday season.
Because
in all
I
times.
know you know this, but I learned when I was at WDEV that the last quarter is when you make most of your money, especially for you on the holidays. And then January, February, March are very slow, so you need money now to get through that slow period. And
Yeah, we're fortunate though. We've got that February.
oh, of course, Valentine's.
February
and-
holiday in there, so
no
it-
flowers for
yes.
President's Day though. But
No President's Day.
Well,
but
I used to
definitely
buy
Valentine's.
myself flowers every Monday
Did you?
for work, right on my desk.
It does make a difference,
It
doesn't
does.
it?
It makes you smile.
We hear
I
that
do.
all the time.
I-
Even it's just one flower.
Yep, I just
does
put it. I
make
do
you-
it every day.
Good for
People would
you.
come in to see what I had for the day, but no,
That's
I just
great.
did it. It was
Good
cool.
for you.
Made me
Good
feel
for you.
good.
We'll encourage others to do that.
I will. That's a great deal. Treat yourself. That's a good thing.
That's it.
Anyway, thank you for tuning in. This is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans, where our tagline is asking the question, what's brewing in Montpelier? Hi, this is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans, where our tagline is What's Brewing in Montpelier? Joining me today in studio is Katie O'Rourke, who is a sole owner and proprietor of Katie O'Rourke Art.
Yes.
Nice to have you here, Katie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to be
Yeah,
here.
this is great. So could you tell those listening and me a little bit about yourself and then your business?
Absolutely.
Oh, great.
So I'm Katie O'Rourke. I am an artist. I'm a painter. And I paint in acrylics and oils and some watercolor, mostly abstract landscape work.
Oh, nice.
And when my daughter was in 7th grade, I realized she didn't play any sports and wasn't into theater or anything. So I thought, I bet I could teach kids how to make
cool.
art.
Yeah.
So that was how it started, is I started with my daughter and a bunch of friends and teaching them because I was too scared to teach adults. And I thought, 7th and 8th graders, perfect.
That's good. Well,
yeah.
that's a great age anyway, because they
yes.
still have a little respect and you
Yes.
can talk to them like grown-ups, sort of.
Exactly.
Good.
Yes. So I started teaching, but I share, we call it the upstairs studio, is where I'm located on Main Street above the Savoy Theater. And I share that space with Sam Colt, who is another local artist.
Oh.
And we found that space. She was working at the Savoy, and our kids wanted to hang out. So we set up a little play date for our kids to hang out. And
nice.
we didn't really know each other. I didn't know she was an artist. She didn't know I was an artist. And we went to the Kent on a little date and realized we both had this love for
Nice.
art.
Meant to
and
be.
Exactly. And she said, I have a space that I want to rent. Would you be interested in sharing it? And 2 weeks later, we signed the lease
Oh, that's perfect.
on our space, which was 8 years ago.
That's great. And so you
Yeah.
teach, have you expanded beyond,
Oh,
beyond the
yes.
kids? I bet you're doing adults because,
Yes, so my 7th graders are now 19 years
Oh,
old.
wow.
So as they grew and became young adults, I
Yep.
thought, maybe I'll teach adults. Like, I think I could do this. These guys are
I bet
getting
there's a lot of
older.
interest in it.
Yes, yeah. That's why I'm here today, though, too, is
That's
to
great. Good.
let people know, get more people to know that there are painting classes right here in Montpelier
It's very nice.
that you
Well,
can take.
What I didn't know was how many businesses are above.
I know.
Above there's no front to your business, no
No,
street front.
no.
It's upstairs.
Yes.
And there's a lot of hidden talent in this town.
There is.
Yep.
There's lots of upstairs studios, not just us, but
Yeah.
even in our building, we have the drawing board. So we have the art store, we have the Savoy Theater, then upstairs is Sam and I, and then next to us is Chris Jeffries, who's another artist. So
Oh,
it's
that's great.
Yeah, it's
the
a
building to be in.
cool little
Is it one of
space.
those buildings with high ceilings and
You know,
a little bit of quaint?
It is. It's beautiful. It has like brick walls, so
excellent. I love that.
you feel like you're downtown. I'm a country girl. I live in
great.
Worcester, so when I come to my studio, it's like, ooh, I'm in the city.
I love it when they have the brick walls. It
Yeah.
just adds so much to it.
It's
That's
beautiful.
great. So, you just said you paint in acrylics and other forms. And where do people do stuff with this, with the talent that you've taught them? Do they have jobs that are in the business?
Yes. So mostly I teach, people who maybe they always wanted to make art, but
Right.
they didn't have the opportunity, or they're looking for community,
Right.
wanting to have a creative outlet. I say it's my jam, but I love working with beginner artists and people who are a little intimidated and afraid, because I think
Right.
art is for everyone, that everybody can make art, and we take your expectations and kind of throw them out the door, and just give yourself grace and learn something new, and don't worry about the outcome.
That's
Just
great.
enjoy
But have any of them
making.
actually taken that skill and?
I think they take
and
it, yes, and have
gone to work with it,
yes, or
great.
had shows.
That's-
Use
that's
it,
cool.
use it in their not only their own artwork, but in their lives. I think it helps people to let go of some stuff that they need to
And express themselves,
yes,
right? That's
yeah,
great.
and not worry so much.
That is wonderful. So, and are you the only artist in town that trains people, that teaches
No,
people?
so it's interesting. When I first started, there wasn't a lot of people doing it, but now, which is awesome, we have many artists that teach. So just at the drawing board alone, Suzanne Rexford is an amazing artist, and she teaches classes at the senior center and at her house. And so you have the Senior Center, T.W. Wood, Center for Arts and Learning, and
of course.
Wilder Art Studio,
Wow.
which are all teaching classes. So downtown's got lots of, good
great.
things
So
happening.
you got to come on downtown.
Yes.
Because we've got to get people back now. We were talking before the show, you didn't get impacted by the flood, by the actual water and the damage.
Yes.
But folks not coming downtown was a problem.
It's
and
a
especially,
huge
I'm sure
problem.
COVID that would have bothered you.
Yeah. COVID, my husband's a musician. So when COVID hit, he had to, he was in big trouble, right?
Yeah,
Because
right.
everything shut down. And so we say we high-fived, because I got to work, because I could do things online. So I started to teach online, because we couldn't do in person.
Right.
So that was a really great experience.
Great.
And worked out very well for me. And then things started to come back into person, which was great. And then the flood hit, which was a huge bummer. And I'm on the second floor, so I wasn't affected by water, but our whole building was,
For sure.
shut down. And I work every Friday at the drawing board, so I get to see how much downtown has been affected by that.
Right.
And
It's bad.
it was
bad.
really bad.
Yeah.
This summer was very, very hard and very, very quiet. So we just don't see the traffic that we used to see.
And it's important to come downtown and to support
it's
you
so
all.
important. We're like one of the drawing boards, one of the only like boutique art stores left in the state. I think there's 3 others maybe. So.
Now, did they get flooded out?
Oh, totally. They lost their basement.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Because there's so much stuff there.
I know.
Wow.
I know, but they're back, and it's beautiful, and it's, it has all the beautiful little, like the paints that I love, the pastels, all the gorgeous
I don't
material.
know much about your world, but when I go in there to get a painting framed, I'm just fascinated walking around looking at all the stuff they have.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were flooded out. I thought they might be just
I know,
high
we
enough.
sit a little bit higher on that side of the town.
Yeah.
So, and even our buildings raised up a little bit, but they all had basements, the Savoy and the drawing board, which just...
And I was listening to the town trying to get people to move all of the equipment, the heaters. But, when you look at some of these buildings, there's just no place.
So where do we go?
Yeah, exactly. You can't put it outside.
No.
It's got to go in the building itself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we got to encourage people to buy local and come on downtown.
Absolutely. So I teach classes. I do 6-week sessions of classes, and all the materials that I use in my classes can be purchased at the drawing board. So I have a really nice relationship with them and try to support buying local as much as I can.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, exciting for you. Where did you learn all of this? Did you go to school
I
to learn this?
I'm originally from Albany, New York, and I went to Russell Sage College, and I got a degree in creative arts and therapy and psychology, but my concentration in creative arts and therapy was visual art. So I took a ton of art classes.
Great.
I loved it. I did was a creative art therapist for a hot minute and decided it wasn't for me. And it turns out that's probably why I love working with beginners, and my classes are focused on self-esteem building and risk-taking, so my background kind of pops right in there.
I did a paint and sip.
Yes.
I did, and I was talked into it. And I was blown away by what it looked like.
Yes.
I actually have a friend of mine who is crazy about Halloween, and this was a Halloween motif of and darn if it wasn't good.
Right.
I was just so surprised.
It's a skill that you build, but also you get a teacher that walks you step by step. And I do those. I do monthly paint and sips in my studio.
Oh, we have to chat.
Yes.
I'm hung up on these things. We had more fun. It was just so much fun.
Yeah, I think
and
people.
I felt so proud of myself.
Yes, because you made something out of nothing.
Exactly.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. It was cool.
Yeah.
And she had some guy walking around with all the paints we needed. Of course, by the time I finished, I have to learn how to be a little bit more neat and tidy. My clothes, everything. What a mess. But
I'm a little sloppy too. It's all right.
So, what made you pick Montpelier and
Vermont?
To start with Vermont.
I moved from Albany to Killington, and I lived in Killington, Rutland area for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And when I lived there, I worked in the ski resort, but I also was a tour guide for Vermont and New Hampshire.
Oh, what fun!
So we would come to Montpelier, and I met Burr Morse when I was 23 years old, doing tours, bus tours at Morse Farm, and I always loved Montpelier. And my husband and I, we moved. We had an opportunity to move towards New York City, so we moved and lived in Connecticut. Then we did a stint in Boston, and we wanted to come back to Vermont. And I said, "What about Montpelier? Nice. I just love it." And he was from Burlington, born and raised. So he's like, Montpelier.
We won't hold that against him.
Yeah. So he wasn't so psyched about Montpelier, but we came here and visited, and he fell in love too.
That's great.
And
we've just grown so much with restaurants and stores, which is why I'm hoping that this video will let people know how much we have to offer down here.
Oh, so much. And we moved here 20 years ago, 19 years ago, to Worcester, and then I always wanted to have a studio in Montpelier. So
That's great. And you are a sole proprietor. You don't employ folks, but
Yes.
but you train them, so that's a good
Exactly,
thing. Are you
yeah.
ever looking to expand, or?
I would love to expand online. I like what I'm doing in person. I teach every week. I have 2 classes a week. I actually have a class right after this.
Oh, really?
So I go from here to there.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I do workshops and I do the paint and sip. And then I would like to do a little bit more online to have a
Who was
broader
the-
audience.
I am so old. John Nagy? Oh, I knew it. You're a
Yes,
little younger.
sorry.
There's a guy on TV that would paint, just as you're
Yeah.
talking about, and teach people how. It was sort of like a paint and sip by TV.
By video or
and everybody loved him. And when
And
we
it
were-
wasn't Bob Ross. That's
No.
what everybody talks about.
No,
Yes.
John Nagy. I'm sure that's his name. Maybe I'm wrong. If I am, let me know.
Well, I'll have to go look him up.
But that was a long time ago, and we'd sit because we were young with our crayons and
Yes.
try to draw like he did. But that, I think people feel comfortable about.
I
what
do
they
too,
wrote.
and some people are, they're comfortable in their home or
Yeah.
whatever it is that they don't want to, can't
Right.
come out. Maybe they can't get to where they
Yeah.
need to be. So to be able
I think
to
COVID
share
is
that.
sort of, if there is a benefit, it's taught people to perhaps by Zoom or that sort of
Yes.
thing. And
Yeah, which is
cool.
what I did during COVID, and I kind of would like to do that again.
That's
in
great.
Yeah.
Well, I think people are used to it. It's not a foreign thing to do anymore. They're just on Zoom. And what fun to do that. So if you make a mistake, nobody could see
Nobody
it.
knows. And if you make
I
a
like
mistake
that.
in my class, it usually turns into something great.
Yeah,
So
but-
I celebrate those.
So the holidays are coming upon us. Do you have anything that you're looking forward to doing to get folks to come into the store? 'Cause
Yes.
when is this Saturday? It's the 14th today, I think.
Yes.
They have the lighting of the
I know
bridges.
the bridge. Yes,
Yeah.
Saturday. That's going to be gorgeous. So we have Art Walk is the first Friday
right.
in downtown, and we'll be open for that.
Great.
That's fabulous. Yeah. So that's 4 to 8. We'll do that, and come check us out at our
yes, I'm
studio.
gonna do that.
We'll have art for sale. We have gift certificates for
Nice.
classes or art. So
Great.
Yeah.
And before we close, I really thank you. This has been really wonderful. I want to make sure we do a shout out to Montpelier Alive.
Oh,
because this year,
Montpelier Alive.
aren't they amazing?
They're the best.
Katie, I swear, I don't know how she finds the energy. She's
yes,
amazing.
She's amazing.
And it's their 25th year anniversary this year.
Yes.
And I think they're really looking for the lighting of the bridges to really be an attraction to invite people to come downtown.
Yeah. It's going to be
And,
gorgeous.
it's gonna be
And Montpelier Alive, the way they promote Art Walk has been unbelievable.
Oh, really?
That has changed the trajectory for a lot of artists, because that's when people come see our
Right,
work. And we
right.
have, I'm going to say, 50 to 125 people come through our doors
Wow.
from 4 to 8
great.
that are engaged and
great.
follow our work, and it's just
Nice.
they've made, that's been wonderful for us
There's so many
artists.
things. They're so
Yeah.
clever, all the things they come up with. So, Katie O'Rourke, thank you very much for
Thank
coming on the
you.
show.
Thank you for having
Pleasure
me.
to meet you.
Come to a paint and
Yeah,
sip.
thank you. Come downtown, folks. Shop local.
Yes,
Great gifts for Christmas
that's
paintings.
right. Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans, where our tagline is, "What's brewing in Montpelier?"